안녕하세요, 여러분. Hello, everyone. Our story today comes from Korea, a country in Eastern Asia. In today's story about the blind man's daughter, you will notice that the girl's name is Shim Chung. Chung is her first name, like Jenny or Maria or Susie. And Shim is her family name. As in many Asian cultures, the family name is set first. So if your name is John Smith in Korea, you would be called Smith John. Listen now to the tale of the blind man's daughter. "500 years ago, maybe more, there lived in a certain village a girl named Shim Chung. Her mother had died long ago, and now her father was going blind. Shim Chung was very beautiful. Her face was smooth and white. Her hair was shiny and black. She was very good and honest, and she had never been sick. It was as if nothing could harm her. She guided her father when he had to work. But his blindness kept him from work, and little by little, all they owned had to be sold to keep them alive. The old man Shim became a beggar. He felt ashamed that his daughter had to go with him to beg for coins. One day, he went out alone. He tripped and fell into a ditch. He tried to climb out, but he couldn't. Then a strong hand reached out and lifted him up, and a voice spoke to him. "Give me 300 bags of rice for the temple, old man, and in time you shall have your eyes once again." It was the voice of a priest from the temple, and the old man's heart filled with hope. That evening, he told his daughter what had happened. But as he told her, his hope went away, and he got very, very sad. Aigo, there is no way for beggars like us to get so much rice." That night, as Shim Chung drifted off to sleep, she sighed, "What to do? What to do?" "Do as I say," someone answered. In a dream, her dead mother told her how to get the rice and help her father see again. The next morning, Shim Chung awoke early. She dressed in a long gray gown and a big hat. Then she walked to the house of a very rich merchant. Now, this merchant owned many, many boats that brought rice to faraway China. But there was a river dragon who would not let the boats go through. He would spit water and lash the waves with his tail. It was too dangerous for boats to sail. "What must I give you? What must I do so my boats may go through?" said the merchant to the dragon. "You must bring me a beautiful girl," the dragon answered. And so the merchant spread the news far and wide. He would offer 300 bags of rice to the girl who would give herself to the dragon. Shim Chung told the merchant that she wished to offer herself to the dragon. "You do not deserve to die. You are a good daughter, and you are dutiful to your father." But there was no other way for Shim Chung to get the rice, so the bargain was made. The next day, Shim Chung watched the horses carry the bags of rice to the priest's temple. Then she bowed before the tomb of her mother and prayed, Oh, heavenly spirits, care for my father until he is cured. And she spoke to her neighbors. Oh, kind neighbors, care for my father until he is cured. Then she set forth to keep her part of the bargain. She wore a beautiful gown of green and red with jewels and golden ribbons in her hair. Her beauty shone brighter than the sun in the eastern sky. Soon they came to the place in the river where the dragon lashed his huge tail. It was time to sacrifice Shimchang to the dragon. The merchant wanted to save her. Oh, river dragon, do not take this girl. But the river dragon demanded the beautiful girl. So Shimchang said goodbye to the merchant. She closed her eyes and jumped off the side of the boat and disappeared into the water. Instantly, the river became calm and quiet like a garden pool. Shimchang floated through the water. Pearls flashed before her eyes. Big rainbow-colored fish danced by, and sea plants tickled her nose as she brushed past them. At last, she arrived at the palace of the dragon. Kind sir, I'm the daughter of the blind beggar, Shim. I'm not worthy to come before one so important as you. The river dragon spoke. A message has come to us from Hananim, the emperor of heaven and earth. You shall be rewarded for your goodness to your blind father. Then sea maidens dressed Shimchang in the finest clothes. They gave her the softest sleeping mats and the richest food. In this life of comfort and ease, Shimchang grew more beautiful than ever. Then one day, the maidens took her to a giant lotus blossom that lay on the river bottom, and they put her right in it. It was so large that it covered her completely. Goodbye, Shimchang, said the river dragon. Goodbye, Shimchang answered back. And soon she felt herself rising like a bubble up through the water. When she reached the top, she was floating next to the boat of the rice merchant. But the rice merchant did not see her. All he saw was the blossom. Never in heaven or on earth was there such a lotus flower as this, said the merchant. Let us take it to the king. The merchant presented the flower to the king. The king was delighted. No one else in all the world had such a blossom. Every day he admired it floating in the garden pool. All day long, Shimchang hid inside the giant flower. Then one night, as she ventured out of the blossom, the king discovered her. She ran to hide, but the blossom had disappeared. The king looked at her. Can this be a spirit? She's so beautiful. He called his wise men. On the day the lotus flower was brought to the king, a bright new star had appeared in the sky. That's a good sign. And so he made Shimchang his wife. Shimchang was happy in her life as a queen, but some days she would think of her poor father. Here I have all I want, but my poor father's eyes are closed to the world. One day, the king saw her weeping. I go, my husband, Shimchang said to the king. I have had a dream about a blind man. It makes me cry. I should like to do something for all the blind people in the kingdom. So a message was sent to all the blind beggars of the kingdom to invite them to a feast in the king's courtyard. 1 day, 2 days, and 3 days passed. Beggars came from far and near to eat rice and kimchi. Queen Chang watched every day, hoping the next person would be her father. The end of the feast came, and still no father. Then one day, there was a noise in the courtyard. A latecomer was being pushed about by the servants. "Father, father, it is my dear father. Let him stay." She ordered her servants to dress him in new clothing and bring him to her chamber. "What wonder is this?" said the old man Shim, when he heard his daughter's voice. "Do apricots bloom in the snow? Do horses have horns? Do the dead men come to life? How can I be sure you are truly Chang?" And he rubbed his eyes. Suddenly, just as the temple priest had promised, the old man's sight returned. "Oh, my goodness, you are beautiful," he said. The king welcomed Shim Chang's father into the palace, and Queen Chang was happy all day long. Her father could see again. This was the heavenly reward to the dutiful daughter of the blind beggar Shim. The story of the blind man's daughter, Shim Chang, is just one of the many folk tales from Korea. You can find others in your school or public libraries. Stories such as The Man Who Lived 1,000 Years and A Korean Cinderella, Kongji Patji. Read and enjoy the folk tales from Korea and from all over the world. Share a story with a friend so our tales will never end.
The preceding program was funded in part by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Our story today comes from the Philippines, a group of islands in the Pacific Ocean. Long ago, the early people of the Philippines made up stories to tell their children. These folk tales were the textbooks of their day. They served to preserve the history and traditions of the people. They told about events that had happened and also tried to explain the interesting things in nature that they saw about them. In a land of volcanoes, earthquakes, and violent storms, there was a lot to try to explain. Mountains erupted, and sometimes the earth shook beneath their feet, and new islands rose unexpectedly from the sea. The people were always surrounded by nature, so they were often puzzled by some of the oddities they saw. What was this fish with no bones or scales and looked like a blob of jelly? What made insects glow in the dark? Where did the eagle come from? And the crocodile? They made up a story for everything. Talking animals are found as characters in folktales everywhere, and, as is proper in a tropical country, it is a quick-thinking monkey who is the hero of today's story. Jose and the Crocodile, in its characters, setting, and topic, is a typical Filipino story. This story may be like some stories you have heard before. Tell me if it is. Now, listen to this tale of Jose and the Crocodile. It begins, noong unang panahon. Jose lived with his family in a little village next to a river. Jose's father raised coconuts, bananas, and other fruits and vegetables. One day, his mother asked, "Jose, will you please gather some coconuts? I need them for cooking and feeding the hogs, and your father would like to sell some at the market." "Yes, Mother, right away," Jose answered. Jose hitched the water buffalo to a sled. He took his sharp bolo and strapped it to his waist. He climbed on the water buffalo and started looking for fallen coconuts. Jose was too small to climb the tall coconut trees, so he gathered ones that had fallen off the trees. There were not too many on the ground near the house that day, so he wandered farther and farther away. It was hard work, and Jose traveled far. The air was hot and humid. Jose and the water buffalo became very tired and thirsty. So they went to the river for a drink and a quick swim in the cool water. While Jose was splashing water on the water buffalo, he heard a groan coming from far away. It sounded like a cry of some animal in pain. Jose became worried. He jumped on the water buffalo and rode towards the sound. The groans became louder and louder as they rode. Soon, Jose saw a big rope hanging from a branch of a large tree. At the end of the rope was a net, and in the net, a big crocodile was fighting to get out. Crocodile catchers were here again, thought Jose to himself. They will make shoes and belts and bags out of this poor crocodile's skin.
"Little boy, please help me. I have a wife and children," begged the crocodile with big tears in his eyes. "If you set me free, I will give you a large gold ring," promised the crocodile.
Jose felt sorry for the crocodile and decided to help him. Besides, he thought, when I get the gold ring, Father can sell it and we won't have to work as hard anymore. He took his bolo from its wooden sheath and stood on the water buffalo and, after several blows, cut the rope. Jose climbed off the buffalo and cut the net into pieces. The crocodile slid through the net. He was free again. "Now that I have set you free, may I have the gold ring you promised me?"
"The beautiful gold ring is in my house down the river. Hop on my back and we will go and get it. Then you will be rich."
Jose did just as he was told. Quietly, the crocodile slid down the bank into the river.
Jose held tightly to the crocodile's slippery back. Foolish child, he has no idea that I want to eat him. I'm very hungry, and he will make a tasty meal. As the water got deeper and deeper, Jose asked, "How much farther is your home? Are we close to it now?" The crocodile turned his snout towards Jose and said, "Oh, I just remembered. The ring is in my stomach. I'll have to swallow you so you can get it yourself." As Jose looked at the large teeth in the crocodile's huge mouth, he became frightened. "Oh no, Mr. Crocodile, please don't swallow me. I shall never get out of your stomach alive. Let me go, please let me go. I don't even want your ring anymore." Jose begged and begged. The crocodile decided to play a game with Jose. "All right, my boy. Inasmuch as you helped set me free, I will give you a chance to be free. You must ask the next 3 things that float down the river whether or not I should eat you. If they say no, then I will set you free. But if they say yes, I will eat you up." Jose had no choice. "That sounds fair enough." The first thing they saw floating down the river was an upside-down banca, which is a dugout canoe. "Banca, Banca, please help me." "What can I do for you, young man?" asked the banca. "Do you think it is fair for this crocodile to eat me up after I set him free from the trapper's net?" "Well, son, let me tell you. When I was a new banca, my owner was very proud of me. He sailed me up and down the river catching fish. I carried vegetables, rice, chickens, and even his family. But as I grew older, I acquired some leaks. So my owner decided to build another banca and sent me floating down the river. I'm slowly rotting away. People are not very grateful. Why should Mr. Crocodile be grateful? If I were he, I would eat you up." And with that, the banca floated past Jose and the crocodile. Next came a torn basket with moss growing on its sides. "Basket, Basket, please help me. Please tell the crocodile he shouldn't eat me after I set him free from the trapper's net." The basket creaked and said, People wish others to be grateful, but they themselves never show gratitude. Why, when I was new, my owners took me to the market and filled me with vegetables and fruits. Yes, I was very useful. But the loads got so heavy that after a few months, I started falling apart. Then my master's wife threw me away. Here I am floating all day and all night, just rotting away. Crocodile, eat that boy up. Teach people a lesson on thankfulness." Jose was getting sadder and sadder. He cried for his mother, and he cried for his father. Then a battered old hat came floating by. Hat, please help me. Please tell the crocodile not to eat me. I set him free from the trapper's net, and now he wants to eat me. Please tell the crocodile it's not fair." The hat laughed. "Thankfulness? My boy, talk about thankfulness. I remember when I was new, my master wore me proudly. I kept him cool when the sun was hot and dry when it rained. Then I grew old and shaggy, and he threw me into the river. So here I am, just floating in this river all day and all night, and I am rotting away. Crocodile, eat him up. You should not be thankful to people who do not know how to be thankful themselves." The crocodile was happy. At last he was going to have his meal. Jose cried and cried. He cried so loudly that a monkey sitting on a tree by the river heard his cries. The monkey chattered and ran up and down a branch.
Oh, Mr. Crocodile! Mr. Crocodile! Give me a ride, please. I'd like to float down the river, too, said the monkey.
Why, certainly, my dear friend. We will be happy to give you a ride, said the crocodile. What a great meal I shall have today. A tasty boy and a monkey.
Mr. Crocodile, come closer to the riverbank so I can jump on your back. Come closer, closer.
The crocodile came closer and closer.
Then suddenly, the monkey threw a vine to Jose. Jose caught the vine and lifted himself off the crocodile's back and onto the tree. The crocodile snapped his jaws and lashed his long tail just inches from Jose's feet. But Jose was safe on the tree. Thank you. Oh, thank you. How can I ever repay you for saving my life? Easily, said the monkey. What I love most is bananas. Ask your father to plant enough banana trees to feed both your family and my family. That will be enough payment. All right, I will, said Jose. Jose climbed down the tree, and the monkey jumped on his shoulder. Then they both ran to tell the story to Jose's family. And from that day on, Jose and the monkey became very close friends. Jose and the Crocodile is just one of many stories from the Philippines. You can find others in your school or public libraries. Stories like Datu Omar and the Fairy, and Princess Ma-Liang, the Huntress, and the story of the absent-minded king. Read and enjoy the stories from the Philippines and from all over the world. Share a story with a friend so our tales will never end.
The preceding program was funded in part by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.